Welcome back to the channel, where tonight it's more clever upgrades to our bus. We're turning her from a tired old camper van into an off-grid van life beauty. And what we've been up to?
We start by taking out the old sink.
And then I put a new sink and new taps in.
We're repairing all of the plumbing.
And I'm tidying up all the shoddy woodwork.
Dom's putting some lovely rustic solid oak window ledges in.
And you get the joy of cleaning out the Thetford fridge.
It was a bit stinky.
It was. And I get to repair the gas, which was leaking.
And I get down to business with the van's electrics. Redo them all. I take out the old stinky AGM batteries that really weren't working at all and replace them with some brand new LiTime lithium ion super huge batteries.
I've also got an amazing van life hack to share with you to stop all your drawers spilling out all over the floor as you go round the bend.
And moving on to your woodwork, you make a super duper rustic little corner cupboard, don't you?
Oh, I do, that's super cool.
It's going to be a super little rustic camper van.
Especially for Instagram. And also, even though I say so myself, I make some very clever fold out, slide out steps so that we can get into our queen size bed.
I haven't seen anybody make what you make that slides out under the bed. I've not seen it in any other vans at all. It's quite ingenious.
I'm super clever, me.
And it was based on an interesting thing that Rosie asked for under her bed. So yeah, that's
We'll show you that later.
So enjoy tonight's episode.
So my first job is to remove the old tap, and I've unscrewed it underneath, and it's also a push fit type of fitting to the existing pipes. And then I'm going to take the old sink off and out. And then we're going to get ourselves a cheap bit of solid pine and turn that into a rustic worktop with our new sink and new tap. And then we're removing all the hot water pipes because we're taking the boiler out. We don't need hot water and we don't want to shower in the van, so that can all come out and be repurposed somewhere else or sold off. So I've tidied up the wall. I think I'm going to put a splashback along the back to cover up this here. I've left a gap here so that we can remove the plastic tiles that Missy said were all broken, and then we'll tile that at a later date. This is all nice and smooth now, but I think I'll still probably do something around the window frame and neaten it up where you've got all these gaps here, and this could be covered over. But for now, it's back on. It's rigid. The plugs are all properly in place. I would have liked to have redone them, but I can't get to the wiring, so they're going to stay as they are for now. Sink's ready to go in. I've got to work out where this is going because I want to put a snazzy front on. So second day on the kitchen today. It's kind of done, but all the last odd jobs, I've decided to move the drawers back, so that instead of the drawer fronts that I've made sitting over the top, they will sit inside. I'll show you what I mean. So it's over the top, which is what I was going to do, but I'm going to recess these back an inch, and then the drawers will sit underneath this bit and be flush. So let's go on that. So finished the kitchen, or the this part of the kitchen job. So let me show you what I've done. So I put a surround around the window made out of old pallet wood, which has allowed the blind to be hidden or recessed. That looks very smart. Today I'm looking at the other side of the kitchen, so Rosie's side of the van, where we've got our double seats, which is where I'm sat now, and I'm looking at tidying up the woodwork, repairing the woodwork, adding some cupboards, and you can see here the table, whilst it's serviceable, it's very rickety and it's come away from the wall, so I'm going to take that off. I'm going to fix it. I'm also going to sand all the edges of the table and then re-varnish it over the top so it matches the rest. The surround around the window is a right mess, so I'm going to tidy that up and add some covers like I did on the other side with rustic wood to hide the blind. And then above the driver's seat I'm contemplating some sort of additional storage, and this here above me, Rosie's asked that we keep that, she likes that. So although we could put storage there, we're also conscious that we want to keep the nice airy space of the van. So let's have a look at what we're doing here today. So you can see here I've taken off the table and I've put up a reinforcing plywood backing on the wall here, and that's because the previous fitting of the table had come away because it had been installed onto these thin bits of cladding, and not only are these only like 6mm thick, so they can't hold any weight, but the screws had been put in the join, so they just literally ripped it out. So what I've done is I've made this nice mahogany coloured board which the table's going to screw into, and then the table will be straightened. Also the table was sticking out into the aisle, so I've taken an inch off so that it doesn't stick out quite so much, so that when you walk up and down you're not bashing into it so much. So the next thing to do before I put the table back on is I've added an extra bit of surround here, and we're going to put the cork oak window ledge up here to match the other side, and then once the window ledge is up we're going to put the surround on. We're going to put one at this end as well, and that's going to look smart, and then we can put the table back on, and then we can move into the back of the van and start fitting the beds. Welcome to the van life construction site. So we're at the camper van and it's the end of the day, so Missy's been inside looking at the electrics, working out what to do there. We've got a Truma boiler inside the van which I'll show you now. That's got to come out, as has all the hot water plumbing because we're not using that anymore. I'm going to take the shower point out at the back. I'll show you that. So that, under that flap that's stuck, that's the shower that's got to come out. That's the electrics with the faulty batteries. These batteries don't work at all. They were completely dud. They're fizzing away. They need to come out and go in the bin. We're taking down the recycling. There's the Truma boiler. That's got to come out. There's a shore power and electric switch there. Don't work. That's got to come out. All the red pipe. That's got to come out. And then if I take you around the other side, walking backwards, clever, isn't I? That's the construction site. So that's the sink that came out, the stuff that we used to do the plumbing, tools, the workbench, professional workbench. We go in the van. So what we've been doing today is we've got this nice bit of cork here that's going to go along there, like this bit here, which is obviously finished. This frame here, that's going to be replicated here. And then today I've been starting to build this really nice shelf here. This is our old Christmas tree. This is a bit of olive wood from our olive grove and more cork oak, and that's going to be stained same as that. And then this is all ready for construction here, and then we're putting in a cupboard up there. So that's half a day's work today because we went shopping this morning. So it's all a bit mess, but well progressing on the woodwork. And then outside, I didn't show you, I'll take you back outside of the van, a little walk this way, whip around this side, down there. That's a bit bloody exciting, isn't it? That's a Maxx fan, isn't it? That's like a Rolls Royce of fans, that is. And that's going to go just over there where we've got a Fiamma fan. And that's rubbish. We showed it to you in the original van tour. Really noisy, so that's got to come out, go in the bin. Maxx fan goes on the van. More tools, chicken food, just what you need. So there we go. I'll be back tomorrow with an update on where we are so far on this budget van build. So we're taking a bit of an ugly beast, an ugly duckling, and we're going to turn her into a beautiful rustic contemporary super van. After making me cute twee Instagrammable shelf here in the corner, I'm now onto Rosie's side of the bus, as I mentioned yesterday. So I've got to take off some wood. It's been very poorly fitted. Got to repair all that and then make the same surround as I did on the other side of the bus a few days back. So let's go on with that. Quick van life hack. One of the worst things when you're driving along, particularly on bumpy roads with heavy drawers, is your drawers bounce open. We tried all kinds of things in our last van. We had bungee clips, we tried clips on the side of the drawer, we even bought proper drawer locks, which are 10 quid each. So here we've got 5 drawers, didn't want to spend 50 quid on drawer locks, so I've got a really quick hack now. Going to show you how to make it using 2 wing nuts and a bit of pallet wood. So here's my finished hack. Bolt through there, repeat up top. Get easier once you've done it a few times as well. I'm doing it that way round with the wing nuts on the back so you don't bash your knee. And there we go. Drawers locked in. Van life hack. So this will ultimately be Rosie's bed. So what we're doing at the moment is, previously the mattress was straight on the floor and we want it to be able to breathe. So we're going to use these slats or battens, which we're going to screw to the floor, and then we're going to put bed type battens going across so there's plenty of air. But what I need to do first is at this back part, we need to construct something so that we can get up to bed, because with my bad back I can't actually get up into the bed without some kind of ladder. And there was a rickety ladder in here which we've shown you before, which didn't really work and it was a bit wobbly and quite dangerous, so that's gone out. So what I'm thinking of doing is we're going to have some tracks made of these same battens that I'm going to screw to the floor, and then we're going to have 2 sections that pull out. The first section will be a solid plywood section with footholes, so like a pull-out ladder, so in the day it can slide back to here, and then when we're ready to go to bed you can pull it out and then you've got footholes in it so that we can get to bed. And the second one that pulls out is going to be a mosquito net, to keep the flies out, which is a request of Rosie. She doesn't want the flies going into her bed, but also it stops cats, as we have 3 cats living in the van. She doesn't want the cats to come into her bed. So whether a mozzie net is strong enough to stop the cats or whether they rip it with their claws, we wait to see. But if they rip it, then we can always use something like chicken wire. So my next job is to construct these track system and see if I can get it all working. And then also, while we were here, we noted that the only thing holding up the back of the bed, which is kind of unbelievable really, is in this corner. If you can see here, there is a steel, slightly not load bearing aluminium corner joint with 1 screw, which is holding up the entire side of the bed there, apart from this batten here which has got a big knot in it and it's about to snap, and the same pretty much on the other side. So these big 3 chunky ones that you can see here I've cut myself, and they're going in to be part of the frame of said ladder system that I just explained, but also to make sure that the bed is sitting on 3 big massive 3x2 joists, roof joists, to hold it up properly and make sure there's absolutely no way it can collapse on top of Rosie. So let me get making me slidey thing and see if it actually works.
that works. Pretend you're a cat. What you doing, Dom? Because we can't see much.
I'm trying to work out how to fit this in, but I don't think it fits. What's going on? Build a van, they said. It'd be fun.
Just be thankful you're not the 17-year-old. Having to sleep on the floor down there. So I've got to film, so I got in trouble with Dom. But I have started work on the electricals. As you can see, we've taken out the 3 batteries. There are a few things wired up in here that were just really, really odd, and I'm not sure why they did them. But I'm gonna undo them and fix them. So for a start, the inverter, the negative was connected to the negative on the batteries, which is fine, but the positive was connected to the CTEKs, not to the batteries. And the shunt here. Again, the shunt, this one connects to the battery, that's correct. This one should connect to the load, and they've taken it all the way down through the van and connected it to the chassis for some reason. Also, they had the solar feed going into this DC isolator to turn the solar panel feed on and off, but then they had the power going into a Victron MPPT, and then from there into the CTEKs. I contacted CTEK and asked what I should do about that and whether that was acceptable or usual, and they were actually really, really helpful, which was really kind of them because I didn't buy the CTEKs new or anything. I had a really full email response from them saying, no, you don't want it going through that because then the CTEK won't understand how to do the charge profile. So we're taking the MPPT out, so the power will go from the solar panels into this, and then from this into the CTEK. So I have to take these 2 wires off and put these 2 on. Also, they have the load. This is kind of all right. They've got the load coming off of this, but I'm going to install a couple of bus bars. I like using bus bars because it means that you don't have to fit too many things onto your battery terminals and have it all messy and hard to get to. I needed bus bars that were rated for about 400 amps, and they weren't available from the brand that I wanted, so they had 600 amps, and I thought, oh yeah, that'll be okay. And instead of being sort of this big, they're absolutely flipping enormous, so I have to find places for them to go in here. They're really, really chunky, but at least they'll be nice and safe. So I'm just going to keep taking things off, and then I have to take all of this woodwork out at the bottom. This was their framework to hold the batteries in place, and I have 2 new live PO4 batteries to go in here, sponsored by LiTime. They've given us one to try, and then we decided that actually they sounded so great we were going to buy one for ourselves as well. So we've got 2. So we're not going to make a 24 volt system because I did contemplate that, but I think it's easier to keep it all 12 volt. We're just going to connect them so that we have 560 amp hours of power, which is probably the most we've ever had of any of our systems. And that's going to go in here. So that's my next job. Wow.
What is it getting stuck on?
There's a cable going under the van that we don't know where it goes, so I haven't disconnected it because it might be important. So that's the first. It looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is a big beast, isn't it?
It is. So it's a LiTime 280 amp hours, 12 volt, maximum discharge current of 200 amps. It's very exciting. Not had one of these before. There we go. My goodness, there's not much room in a van, is there? So it comes with all your instructions. It's got a quick start guide, and it's in English and German, which is very helpful. They have very nice packaging. That's from the other battery. Hey, look at that. Tell you so you don't lose your post bolts. They're packaged separately. Put it out. Put it with the other one so I don't lose them. And there we go. Gorgeous. Right, he's very heavy. Love the little handles they put on for you. them. They fit in the space. How magic is that? Woohoo! Yeah. So now my job is to measure up how big the cable, or how far the cable needs to run. So we need to go positive to positive and negative to negative, and then that negative to the negative bus, and that positive to the positive bus. And then we'll connect them to the solar and get them charged up.
Just a question from an unknown battery person. Why do you not have the two terminals next to each other so you have shorter cables?
Because your wife didn't think of doing it? I mean, I could.
Oh, just a question.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? See, I think in all of the diagrams, they show you putting them next to each other. So one here and one here. And then your terminals are really close.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't got the space to put them up like that. Yeah. I mean, whatever I do, if I put the terminals together, then I've still got really long runs to the bus bars, so...
Yeah, it's a lot of weight on that side of the van, isn't it?
It's a lot of weight, yeah. Hello, I'm under the bed again, and I'm ready to start the electrics. The first job I have to do is connect the two batteries together. We have two lithium batteries, I'll show you in a tick. I have to connect them together and then leave them for 12 to 24 hours for the voltage to even out, apparently. I'm going according to the instructions that came with the batteries. So I'll show you them now. These are the batteries. These are the cables. We got all of the cables made up for us at a place called Ampere Albi in Costa del Branco. They didn't have red for the 35mm squared, so we've got brown, and I've put red tape on the ends to remind me which is which. The post bolts that come with the batteries here. So I'm just doing red to red and black to black because I'm putting them together in parallel so that I keep the system at 12 volts. If I connected them in series, then they would be going up to 24 volts, but we want a 12 volt system. So let's crack on. The instructions say to use insulating gloves, isolating gloves. I'm going to give it a go. I've never used these before to do 12 volt electrics. I think I'm going to fumble around, but I'm following the instructions. So we're going to go positive to positive first. So we take the little cap off there. It doesn't actually explain in the instructions in what order you're supposed to do these. So it comes with a bendy washer on the top and then a normal one, and then there was a spare another one in the packet. I think you should probably go like that. So let's have another go at connecting that on. And of course, when you're doing this, you should be very careful not to touch the negative terminal and the positive terminal at the same time, which is why I've left all the other terminals covered up. So then we'll take the cap off of this one. Good. Keep them in case I need them. And then that gets an insulating cap. I haven't actually done that up fully tight yet because I need to bend it to put this one on. It is very hard, I thought it would be, doing it in these gloves. But if they say I need them, then I must need them. Okay, here we go. Right. They probably need tightening a little bit, just to make sure that that's nice and tight. And this one, don't want it too tight, because when the two batteries have done their equalizing, then I'm going to need to connect the positive to the positive bus bar and the negative to the negative bus bar, and that's all via the shunt, and that's all I should need to do. So I'll just need to be able to get these off again tomorrow, so don't want to do them too crazy tight. That's a shame about the bendy wires. I wanted shorter wires, but the guy at Emperor Elby said that he wasn't convinced that he could cut it to the right length. So here we go, this is what we have to do. See, that's not ideal. It could go that way. Can I bend it? Oh, I can bend it that way, let's do that instead. The instructional manual you get with the batteries is actually really, really excellent. It's so simple, if you can see that. There we go. So it tells you exactly how to do it, how to connect them. If you want bigger systems, shows you how to use the bus bars instead of the battery terminals. If you've got a massive bank like that, you really can't make a mistake with this, not if you follow the instructions fully. They've got your wiring diagrams, how to rebalance it every 6 months, so it's super duper good. Another quick job that I've got to do, I've cleaned out the fridge. I shall show you. It's all lovely. Any marks that you can see are rust, we're going to replace them, but I've given it a clean with lemon juice and it looks much better. It smells much better, but what I've discovered is here in the freezer, it's really, really grotty. So I've got it propped open with a bottle at the moment, wedged open, because if you don't wedge it open, it shats. So I'm just going to get on that with some sodium bicarbonate and a little splash of water to make it into a paste, and an old toothbrush, and I'm just going to scrub it until I get it clean. And now we've brought in a little cup of vinegar. Wow, look at that fizzy fizzy. And I've brought it along all the fizzy reaction that I get. I'm hoping that'll help lift some of the dirt that the scrubbing hasn't. Oh, that's grody. Oh, that's really nasty. So there you have it. It looks a lot better than it did, and it doesn't smell, so I'm pleased with that. I might give it one last going over tomorrow once it's all had a time to set in. I haven't been able to dry out from underneath the seals, but I've dried off the tops, so hopefully it'll carry on doing its job, the vinegar in there, and de-stinking. Okay, what we have here is a board, because I'm working on gravel. Got my hammer, got my very funky, this is a metal end crimper. So you lift that up, you put the crimpy doobie in there, you put it down, and then you bash, bash, bash. My crimp end and my wire. I've put heat shrink tubing on here and here. This side didn't have one on. This end was crimped by Ampere Albi, and this end I'm going to do myself. So we're just going to shove wire in there, lift the end up. That is about right. Ta-da! And that end doesn't come off at all. And I've forgotten to put on a thingy, so I'm just going to pop a little bit of electrical tape around that and around their end too. See, they've got a bit of copper wire showing, and it's all good. Look at that, super duper neat. And I'm aware that I've put it on at a funny angle, but that's because one end's going to go this way and one end's going to go up. So I think that's spot on. This is the thing with the ends. That one was already crimped on, and I've put this heat shrink stuff over the top, and I've got my little hot air blower that's plugged into a power box. We'll see how we do. And just heat up the heat shrink doodad, and it should shrink to fit. Yeah, look at that. Lovely jubbly. And do the other end. This is better than using tape. So that one, I can see without having to follow all the wires back. That one's going to the CTEK. That's also not tight. We can tighten them up in a minute. Let's tick that off my list. Chassis cable needs a new end. So yesterday I took the plus cable out and I trimmed the end because it was really manky and the wire was all twisty and just, it was a dodgy job. So I've refitted that, and today I'm going to take this off, and I actually have some new black cable. There's nothing wrong with this. They've just used a red cable and then covered it in black tape to tell themselves that it's a negative, but I've got black cable, so I might as well use that. And then we need to put ends on it to run it through a breaker. Yeah, that one's not too bad. That's not as bad as the one that was in the positive, but we'll get rid of that. Don't need that. Okay, so the solar can come into the CTEK and it will send it. This one goes to here, but that needs recrimping. I'm not happy with that end, so we'll do that in a minute. Then it will go through the breaker and down and onto here. Okay, so I'm just doing the final steps. I'm just putting the battery cable on the positive bus bar, and then I'll connect it to the battery positive, and then I'll connect the negative to the battery negative, and hopefully it'll all just work first time, because wouldn't that be amazing? The system being complete, I was really happy with how it looked. I thought it was absolutely pucker and spot on. I was really pleased with all my crimping and having everything through the bus bars. Whole system's wonderful. when I went to turn it on, of course I should have filmed it, and just at that moment I noticed not only was my battery flat, but also the SD card was full. I thought, well, it's all right, I'll turn it on, I check that it works, and then I'll go and sort out the camera, and I come back and film the ending so that you can see it finishing. And unfortunately, when I turned it on, none of it worked. I had nothing. I don't know why. As far as I can tell, I've done everything right. So that's just really frustrating and vexing, and I don't know enough about electrics to really know. I followed all of my instructions, as I kept saying, and I can't understand why it's not working. I've checked everything that CTEK said, I've checked everything online, I've been through the Victron community, and it should be getting power from the solar panels, and that should be going into the batteries. And I can see on my Victron app that it's not. So, pass. I don't have any time to do any more work on it either, because I have to head off to England to do some work, and when Dom gets back, he doesn't do electrics, so I don't know. They'll just have to wait until I'm back, I suppose. How disappointing.
So we went to the Air in Castello Branco to test out the water system, and we filled up the underslung tank. That didn't leak, so good job, no problems there. So that's all fixed now. However, when we turned on the pump, the water in the van blew and went all over my face, so I've had to do some more plumbing there, so I'll have to show you that a bit later. But on the electrics, when it was all turned on by my good self, Missy is away, she's working in the UK, so all of the electrics were finished by her, as you've seen previously in the video, and everything should be working. I turned it on, I don't know anything about electrics, and it's not working as it should do. It's just not happening, so it's very frustrating. Just needed Greg Virgo to be here really to show me what to do. Where's Greg Virgo when you need him?
Oh, hello, Dom. What are you doing?
It's Greg Virgo.
How you doing, mate? What can I do for you?
I seem to have a bit of a problem with my electrics. Missy's not here, she's the electric person. Everything should be working, but nothing's happening, mate.
I'll go and grab my tools then, and then we'll have a look, shall we?
Great!
Right, the first thing I want to do is just have a look at how the solar panels are wired, whether they're wired in series or in parallel, and then I can get an idea of what kind of voltages and what kind of amps we're going to be seeing downstairs. The first thing I noticed straight away was they were wired in series, but we'll put a couple of little diagrams up and I'll explain the problem that Dom and Missy would just not have known, to be honest. So on the diagram, it was originally wired in series, white to black, white to black, white to black, positive to negative, as you can see here. And then there's a red and black cable that goes back down into the van. But they continued the theory of positive to negative. So the cable that went down into the van was actually reversed polarity. The red was actually the negative and the black was actually the positive. So when it was connected down in the van, the two cables were the wrong way round. So that was the first problem. So I've done that, I've corrected that, I've swapped the cable over on the roof, and then now the white cable's connected to the red, which is positive to positive, and the black cable's connected to the black. So down in the van now, the polarity is correct. Red is positive, black is negative. So this is the original setup that Dom and Missy had in the van. These two CTEK chargers. They act as both a solar charger and a B2B. Now, this one wasn't working at all when I arrived. I've tested it. I've got continuity across these terminals, which I shouldn't have. So obviously there's something wrong with these. There was also a Victron MPPT on the input to the solar side. Now, what I reckon has been done there, these have a maximum input voltage of only 23 volts, which is quite low, very similar to the Renogy MPPTs that only take 25 volts. With the panels wired in series, you're going to get something like 50 or 60 volts off those three panels, so it's way too much for this controller. So I suspect that it's blown a fuse in here because there's just too much voltage coming into this. So we've removed these, and the Victron MPPT that was wired in series feeding this controller, we're going to use that, which is far better technology. It's a superior bit of kit and it'll work perfectly, and it can accept up to 100 volts. So I've taken these all out, and then I'm going to rewire the Victron equipment into there, and that will solve all their problems. Okay, so what we've managed to do in that little break there is we've fitted all the Victron equipment. This was the MPPT that was already fitted that was supplying the CTEK, which was a bit strange, but we've now used it on its own, which is perfect. Wired the solar into it, and we've got a connection to both of the buzz bars, so that's working nice and happy. It's on float at the moment, which is great. That means the batteries are full. And then fortunately, Dom and Missy had a B2B, a Victron B2B in their yellow sub van. So we've just taken that out and installed it in here. So this is now connected to the van battery and to these batteries, so that when they're driving, this will act as a B2B and charge the batteries when they're driving around. We've tested both systems. They're all working perfectly now. Tidied up a few of the cables and bits and pieces, so it's all good to go. So there we are. It's a couple of little problems that are not obvious to the novice van builder, and they're tricky little things to get your head round. So thanks for inviting me down, Dom. I'm glad I could sort that little issue out for you. Can I shoot off back to Lou now,
yeah,
please?
go back to England, Greg. Thanks for your help, mate.
No problem, mate. Cheers.
So thank goodness I could phone a friend and Greg could get over here so quick. So he's now back in Basingstoke. Thanks very much, Greg. So we are now ready to hit the road.
Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that big old roundup of all the random stuff we've been doing on the van.
Certainly been busy. I'd like to thank Greg for coming to visit us, especially, and helping us.
Jumping to the rescue.
Yep, he saved the day.
That was magic.
And thanks also to LiTime for the fabulous batteries. We're so pleased with them. And if you need new batteries for your van, we've put a link in the description. Absolutely recommended.
Yeah, we do recommend them, genuinely. They're good batteries and good service. If you follow us at all on Buy Me a Coffee, then you might have noticed there has been absolutely nothing happening there, and that's because we got locked out and I kept doing the stupid code thing and it wouldn't let me in. But we're in now. I've put up some new pictures, just a few things that we've been doing on the wildlands, and I've updated our wish list and so on. So if you want to pop on to buy us a coffee, then you can buy us a coffee or a bottle of gin.
That would be very appreciated, especially the gin. And lastly, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe so you can see what's happening and follow our journey as we take our Duffer from old clapped out camper van into luxury off-grid rustic van life van.
Yeah, I mean, we've got loads done this week, but there's still so much more to do, isn't there? There
is. And if you're also new, we are also living off-grid, so in coming weeks we're going to be finishing our off-grid toilet. That's worth subscribing just to see how we go to the toilet off-grid, isn't it? And lastly, let us know in the comments what your favourite upgrade from tonight was, and if you've got a camper van or a self-build van, let us know what your favourite upgrades are, or perhaps you've got some ideas of things that we can add in as we carry on with the build in subsequent weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to hear from you.
So once again, thanks very much for watching, and
We'll see you again soon. Bye.